A deal with my enemy saved my life. It was raining hard when Daniel ran through the dark streets, his clothes wet and dirty. He was tired, cold, and angry at life. He had lost his job, his house, and his good name. But worst of all, he had lost his friend. Ethan was once his brother-like friend. They had started their careers together, shared dreams, and helped each other. But one day, everything changed. Ethan betrayed Daniel and blamed him for a crime he didn't do. From that day, Daniel's life became a storm that never ended. Daniel sat under a broken bridge that night, his hands shaking from hunger. He looked at his reflection in the dirty water and whispered, "Why me?" He remembered the moment when police came to his office shouting that he had stolen company money. He had no proof of innocence because Ethan had taken everything: the files, the reports, the trust. Daniel tried to explain, but no one listened. His world fell apart in a single week. He slept on streets, begged for food, and lived in shame. Once a respected man, now just a shadow. He often thought of taking revenge. He imagined walking to Ethan's house and shouting his truth. But he knew no one would believe him. Still, he promised himself that one day the truth would come out. He didn't know how, but he would wait. Time passed slowly, like a wound that refused to heal. One afternoon, while sitting in a park, Daniel saw a black car stop across the road. He looked closer and froze. It was Ethan. He looked different, thinner, nervous, and scared. Daniel hid behind a tree and listened. Two men in black suits stood near the car, shouting. "You have 1 week," one said. "If we don't get our money, you're done." Ethan begged for time, his voice shaking. When the men left, Ethan leaned against the car, breathing hard. Daniel couldn't believe his eyes. The man who had destroyed him was now in trouble. For a moment, Daniel smiled bitterly. But then, something in his heart softened. He remembered how helpless he once felt. He decided to follow Ethan, not knowing why. Maybe it was curiosity, maybe it was destiny. He followed him quietly through narrow streets until Ethan entered an old building near the river. When the lights turned off, Daniel waited in the dark. After some time, Ethan left, locking the door behind him. Daniel broke in through a window. Inside the dusty room, he saw files, papers, and boxes. One drawer caught his eye. It had a small lock. Daniel found a metal pin and forced it open. Inside was a box labeled D Case. His heart raced. This could be the proof of his innocence. But before he could open it, a voice came from behind. "Looking for something?" Ethan stood at the door, holding a gun. Daniel froze. The room was silent except for the sound of rain outside. "You framed me," Daniel said slowly. "You took everything from me." Ethan looked down, his face full of guilt. "You don't know the truth," he said quietly. "They made me do it. Those men would have killed me if I refused." Daniel stared at him, unsure whether to believe or hate him. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Ethan lowered the gun. "I can't change the past," he said, "but I can make a deal with you." Daniel frowned. "What kind of deal?" Ethan sighed. "Help me escape them, and I'll give you this box. It has all the evidence, proof that you were innocent and they forced me to lie." Daniel wanted to say no, but something in Ethan's eyes looked broken. Against his anger, he nodded. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the deal. Could he trust Ethan? Maybe it was a trap. But what if it was real? The next morning, he went to the train station where they had planned to meet. Ethan was already there, wearing a hat and holding a small bag. "We'll go to the border," Ethan said. "I know someone who can help." Daniel didn't speak, just followed him silently. As they walked toward the platform, Daniel noticed two men in black behind them. His heart jumped. "They're here," Ethan whispered. The men started moving faster. "Run!" Ethan shouted. They rushed through the crowd. People screamed as bullets hit the walls. Daniel grabbed Ethan's arm and pulled him behind a steel pillar. "You said we'd be safe," he shouted. Ethan's face was pale. "I didn't know they'd find us this soon." They escaped through a maintenance tunnel. Their steps echoed in the dark. Ethan coughed and fell to his knees. "I can't," he said weakly. Daniel pulled him up. "You can't stop now," he said. They ran until they reached an old storage room. Daniel closed the door and blocked it with a wooden crate. "Give me the box," he demanded. Ethan hesitated but handed it over. Daniel opened it and saw papers, letters, and a USB drive. He quickly looked through them. It was all there. The proof. Ethan had stolen money under threat from a dangerous businessman who controlled everything. Daniel realized the truth. They both were victims. "We can fight them?" Daniel said firmly. Ethan looked surprised. "After what I did to you?" Daniel nodded. "We both want the same thing now. Freedom." Ethan's eyes filled with tears. Suddenly, a loud noise broke the moment. The door burst open, and the two men in black entered with guns. Daniel pushed Ethan behind boxes. One man shouted, "Give us the box!" Daniel grabbed a metal rod from the floor and swung it hard. The rod hit one man's arm, and the gun fell. Ethan screamed as the second man fired. Daniel ducked, grabbed the fallen gun, and shot in fear. The bullet hit the first man, and he fell to the floor. The other man ran out of the room. Daniel's hands shook. Ethan looked at him with wide eyes. "You saved me," he whispered. Daniel dropped the gun. Sirens wailed outside. Someone had called the police. When officers arrived, Daniel gave them the gun and the box. He told them everything, and Ethan confirmed it. After years of suffering, Daniel was finally free from lies. Weeks passed. Daniel got his job back. The company apologized for what had happened. One afternoon, he got a message. Ethan wanted to see him before leaving the city. Daniel met him at a quiet cafe. Ethan looked tired and weak. "They released me," he said softly. "But I'm leaving forever. I just wanted to say, thank you. You could have let me die, but you didn't." Daniel smiled faintly. "You destroyed me once," he said, "but maybe saving you saved me too." They shook hands. Two men who had lost everything but found forgiveness. Ethan left quietly, disappearing into the crowd. Daniel watched him go, feeling something heavy lift from his heart. That evening, Daniel stood near the bridge where his story had begun. The rain fell softly, and he smiled at the sky. He had nothing left to fear. He had made peace, not just with his enemy, but with himself. Sometimes, he thought, life gives us strange choices. A deal with his enemy had not only saved his life, it had saved his soul.